Daniel Dunas,
Here.
Baratek Bali,
Here.
Simone Marseille, Christian Santa Gonzalez, Joel Rosales,
Proxy here, Ashley Rones.
Christine Perdoma, Tim Crespo,
Here.
Clinton Williams,
Here.
Tracy Phelps,
Here.
Stephanie Thoborn is excused, Martha Morales, Catherine Wall.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Chair.
Okay.
Oh,
Sunil
sorry.
Simon.
Tonight's time. Okay, thank you.
All right. With that done, do we have any additional modifications to the agenda?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Are there any changes to the minutes for May 7th, 2026? If not, can I have a motion to adopt the minutes as presented? Any changes? No? So can I have a motion to adopt the minutes?
Motion. Second.
David and Bruce. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose, nay. Right, aye wins. Do we have instructions on how to provide public comments are included in the agenda? Staff, do we have any general comments? Have any general comments been received?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we can move on to the next item. Do we have, at this time, I can invite anybody, any VZAC member comments on items not already on the agenda? Do we have any comments from staff, from members? Nothing? Everybody's quiet? Okay. Catherine?
Hi, I just want to share a few exciting things that have happened most recently. First of all, I want to use a huge thank you to Palm Springs. We just completed 4 sessions, 7 a.m. and 7 p.m.s with all of their officers. We did about 50 officers and they were helmet certified. And the idea is that they're actually going to do a program and we're playing with it, but almost helmets on patrol, where they're going to have helmets in their cars. When they see kids on the street and they don't have a helmet on, that they can talk to them, fit them with a helmet, and then send them on their way. When they see them again in the future and they're wearing their helmet, we want to work with some community partners, maybe get a free Frosty or something like that, reward those kids, catch them doing something right. And if they see them again and they did fit them for a helmet and they're not wearing their helmet, they can have a little chat. So it was really exciting, and we appreciate the just the effort and the enthusiasm behind helmets, and particularly with kids in their community. We also have, I just want to announce that we have our next micromobility task force. It's on July 27th. If you're interested in attending that, please let me know. I'd love to get you on that invite list. And thirdly, one more thing, I think I shared at one of the past meetings about a project that the Children's Services Council funded for us, is called Helmet Up. And we're doing that with middle schools. Thanks to the help with the healthcare district, we looked at all the trauma data and we saw that the highest amount was in that 12 to 15-year-old age range, which is those middle schoolers, which are often left out. So we went kind of looked at the heat map of where those were at and were able to identify middle schools where we could target. We did our pilot with Boca Middle. It was phenomenal. We had a lot of lessons learned. We did pre-assessments. We looked at the bike racks to see what type of bikes were in the bike racks, pedal, scooters, or e-bikes. Then we were able to do student education, parent education, do a helmet fitting event one day after school at dismissal. We were able to purchase micromobility helmets for those e-scooters and e-bikes that kids were riding. And we did a post survey and we were able to see an increase in helmet usage. So we're really excited. We're working with the school district now, planning on 3 more schools that'll be happening by the end of September. And then we were also just found out we were funded by AAA and we're able to do 4 more schools. So we're hoping hoping this is a project that can really get some traction across the county. Thank you.
Who was doing the handing the bikes to kid or the helmets to kids? Who was doing that?
I'm sorry?
Who was the group handing the helmets to the kids?
We had, so Safe Kids Palm Beach County was kind of the lead on the project, but we had great partners with MPO that helped us out. We had FDOT was a great partner as well, Healthcare District. School Police actually jumped in and were really excited. And for Boca, the town of Boca, they were very involved as well. So we will be working with each of the schools and doing the same thing.
Okay. Anybody else, Fatih?
Yeah, I just want to thank Kathy for the great work they do with helmet fitting, but also with the meeting they organize for micromobility and having everybody kind of get at the same place and learn from others. I think you're doing a great job. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
Sorry.
How do you pronounce your name?
So need.
Sony.
Yes, like you so need me, so need.
I didn't want to say it.
Good morning, everybody, and excellent work, Catherine. That sounds amazing, and I'm gonna knock on your door. So for the month of July, the City of Riviera Beach, right now we're working on our Safe Streets action plan, and one of the first parts of our action plan is that we're getting our leaders to be excited about having safe streets. And so for the month of July, we have lots of activities that are going on in order to get our community to surround it and say, yes, we want this to happen. And leaders, we want you to back this. And so starting at 4th of July, we'll be doing educationals and all at our big 4th of July shebang. The police department has a summer camp that they'll be working with. And so part of our contribution will, one, have the information for the kids, but two, we'll also be doing the helmet fitting that we did the training for. So we'll be doing we'll be fitting the kids for helmets, about 76 kids that'll be participating in that. And then we have our schools, they have been redistricted this year. And so our elementary kids will be changing their routes of how they get to school. And so the work that we'll be doing with our different schools is having designated routes. So their main routes that would take them from their different houses, but then they all kind of take a main route to the school. We'll be doing, where hopes is that, and if you know any artists, please help us with this, is to number one, designate fun routes, and on the sidewalks, it'll be like, I'm awesome and this is great. So that way they know where the path is to school. And then we'll do some more bike helmet fitting. So that way they are safe getting to school. We have a mural that we'll be putting up at one of the schools in order to say, this is our school and I'm going to my safe space. And then we'll have routes that we'll be sending out to parents. So that way parents know this is the way that your child can walk or bike and you all can go to school together. One of our schools are working on the walking school bus. And so we're kind of all hands on deck to try to figure out how this new routing is happening for all of our children. And so that's some of the work that we'll be doing this month. And everybody is more than welcome to join us for all of this. That's it.
Great, sounds awesome. Thank you. Doing a lot of good things, so it's great. Fadi?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I mentioned at the last meeting, but the Board of County Commissioner, they approved the resolution from the safety study that we did, the safety action plan for Palm Beach County. And part of it is that the county commit the strategy to reduce fatal and serious injury by 50% on the highway injury network by 2035 and achieve a goal of 0 fatality and serious injury by 2045. So that was a resolution approved by the county commissioners.
What was the percentage of not fatal fatalities, the serious injuries? What was that percentage again by 2045?
Yeah, I mean, it's 50% by 2035 and 0 by 2045.
Oh,
Hopefully, we
okay.
don't have to close all the roadways to achieve that, but.
Okay.
I think one of the things the study identified is this high injury network where we can really focus on it. And one of the things I'm doing is I want to keep track every year what's going on this high injury network and what's being done. So.
Okay, good. Looks like everybody's busy doing some good things. Anybody else? All right. We can move on to the VZAC liaisons report. I invite Maggie, Senior Multimodal Planner, to provide an update.
Good morning, everyone. So first and foremost, we have our fiscal year 2026 annual report. Carly worked really, really hard on that. We have a copy that's physical in person here if you want to grab one. And we also have it online, and it just highlights everything that we've done within the past year. So we're excited about that. We also have the 5E toolkit, and that offers some strategies for local municipalities to implement while they're planning projects. And it's all to keep a safer transportation system and kind of to advance that in your local communities. So you can view the toolkit online by searching on our website for 5E Toolkit. We also have MPO tools tutorials. We have a couple of online resources that you can use. Some of those tools that we have a tutorial for now are the comment map tool, the tip tool, the crash dashboard, and the interactive map. For more information about those, to find those tutorials, you can visit our website, and you can also find additional resources as well on our website. We have a helmet fitter training in partnership with Palm Beach Gardens and Safe Kids Palm Beach County on August 5th. So, and we'll have that from 10 to 11:30 a.m. In their EOC room, so their Emergency Operation Control Room. To register for that, palmbeachmpo.org/helmet fitter training. We'd love to see you all there. North County, represent. And then Dangerous by Design report. Smart Growth America releases a report every 2 years in regard to the safer states and the not safe states across the United States of America. You can see where Florida ranks by visiting their website as well. The Community Connectors funding opportunity. There is an opportunity to apply for funding through Smart Growth America as well. And that application is open until July 17th, and you can apply online visiting Smart Growth America's website. There's another funding opportunity through the Bloomberg Initiative for cycling infrastructure funding. And that application is open through September 14th. I think there's some ideas or I think there's a population limit that you have to reach or a threshold that you need to reach in order to apply for that. But to check that out and to learn more about that, you can visit globaldesigningscities.org. The countywide transportation master plan is still in the works. And there's a few meetings that are upcoming kind of as a last hurrah to get public input. And those are July 8th in Boynton Beach and July 9th in West Palm Beach. For more information about that, you can visit pbcmoves.org or .com. And other than that, to get involved and to stay informed of what we're doing here at the Palm Beach MPO, to explore some of our resources, discover opportunities, whatnot, you can visit our website, palmbeachmpo.org/participate. And that's all I got.
Are there any public comments for
No,
this
Mr.
issue?
Chair.
Mhm. Do any committee members have any comments or questions on the liaisons report? No? Okay, we'll move on then to action items. I just want to make sure I got everybody checked off here that's here, so I think I do. Was Sunid in on the list? Is she
Mentioned it afterwards.
okay. All right, we'll get back to where we were here. Action items, invite Andrew up to provide an update.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. Happy July 4th week. This is our list of priority products for fiscal year 2028 to 2032. We just started the new state fiscal year, so happy new fiscal year, July 1st. And so we're operating right now under the current 27 through 31 TIP, our Transportation Improvement Program, which is our 5-year funding of projects. So this is looking forward to the next year. So we'll be operating under this new priority list and adopted Transportation Improvement Program come July 1st of next year. And so this list of priority products includes all those priorities with anticipated funding availability and our requests as an MPO to FDOT using our federal and state funding allocations over the next 5 years. And so as I mentioned, our current fiscal year is now fiscal year 2027. And this next one covers 28 through 32, so the next 5 years. That outer year, as I always mention, is the new fifth years is sort of the term it's used. The reason why it's sort of called out is that typically we're moving products through the pipeline of different phases. And the outer new year is where you have more revenues available to allocate projects to. So that's why it's the new fifth year. We'll typically see these requests come into the new fifth year, although there are some exceptions, and I'll talk through those. And as a reminder, the Metropolitan Plan Organization coordinates federal and state investments throughout the county. So any product that's federal and state funded for transportation is required to be in the TIP, which is approved by the Palm Beach MPO. And although we do coordinate countywide investments, we do prioritize specific federal funds that we receive in our urban area based off population. And so we do have a little bit more of a funding source directly for prioritization that we work with AppDOT on, which I'll talk about. And so to get to this point of the process and where we move forward to that next transportation improvement program, it really starts with product development. So this is our long-range transportation plan, our 25-year document. We have a call for projects. We're doing that annually now. With that call for products, we get in not just ones for our long-range plan, but also ones that may be ready for our list of priority products in the transportation improvement program. That started back in winter of last year. It ended just recently in spring. With that, we get applications in from our locals. They're reviewed by our staff, by AFDOT, there's site reviews in the field, and we look for feasibility. Once that's all set and they have support locally, it's moved into the list of priority products, and that's what's before you today. So we'll be commenting on some of the upcoming requests for ones that are already in the list of priority products, and also on the new ones. That is then given to AFDOT to build their statewide work program, and they're incorporating MPO priorities, the other programs they have, their major capacity products on their strategic intermodal system, and other products as well. And so that's all built and balanced for a work program and is presented to the MPO. We provide comment in December, and then they build their final work program, which serves as the basis of our transportation improvement program for next year. The ones we're talking about today are just those MPO priorities. The TIP as a whole, the Transportation Improvement Program, over 5 years is $3 billion. We're looking more around the amounts of our current TIP being around $410 million. So that's sort of the scale there. It deals with roughly 56 priorities total on the MPO priority list. And this is an important part to note that when you look at this list of priority projects, and this is the same table that you'll see carry forward through the work program and the transportation improvement program, we always keep it the same summary tables. We put priority lists, priority products in the list, and you'll see it by year and rank. Products may have various phases based on their complexity, and it could take years to implement. Sometimes phases are not ready to go into the work program. And so you'll see what we're trying to accomplish is a pipeline of projects with AFDOT. And so these requests coming up here are for ones that we have an understanding of the next phases are ready to go, and we can try to fund those. The full list of priority projects could move around, right? We might have ones that could advance more quickly if funds become available, or maybe they're able to get design done earlier, and we can move construction faster. So there's always these pipelines of products moving around, but we're trying to keep things on schedule, and this is a typical schedule here. So for funding availability, and this is sort of what we base our list of priority products off of, we do oversubscribe. So what you see on the screen here is our anticipated funding, 45 million, 46 million roughly between federal and state funds that we have a general understanding will come to our area for prioritization within our county. However, this is supplemented with other funding sources such as discretionary grants. There's other federal and state funding sources out there that are needs-based. That all gets integrated into our list as well. But we typically base our projections off of this known revenue sources of $46 million. The majority of that goes towards the major products and local initiatives. That's $40.3 million with federal and state funds. And then we have the Transportation Alternatives Program, which is a federal pot of money that can be used off the federal aid network, and that goes towards non-motorized transportation products, $5.1 million. I'm going to go through the requests for this new outer year. The first ones are the major products list. And so these are the larger ones that come out of our long-range transportation plan. They can go towards a variety of initiatives to align with our vision at the MPO: safety, reliability, complete streets, transit, technology, resiliency. The eligibility really depends on the flavor of the funds. Typically, state funds are used on state roadways, and then our federal funds can be used on the state system, but there can also be used off the state system on federal aid eligible roads. The timeline for these are usually larger scale projects. So you'll see newer phases come into that new fifth year, whether that be construction or design or are typically the ones when you first see them appear. Product list for you today. The ones on the screen are all ones that have a request coming up for fiscal year 2032, the new fifth year. 3 of them are existing projects on the list of priority products. That's US 1, lane reconstruction. Sorry, I need to fix that. Lane reconstruction on US 1 in Lake Worth, Boca Raton signals, and then Indian Town Road at Central Boulevard is an intersection reconstruction, which is currently under PD&E. Design's already done for that one. Right away is the next request. And then there are 9 new requests. So anything with a year of 26, followed by the priority ranking, are new ones onto the list and the request for those. In total, it's $77.6 million in requests. Again, we don't have this full amount available anticipated. We do oversubscribe though, and we try to get these things moving through the pipeline. Some of these may accelerate further than 2032, but really we're sort of anticipating 2032 for most of these if they were to come into the work program and the TIP. It's a variety of projects on this list. A lot of them are geared towards safety. Many of them are shared use pathway projects. Many of these are also state initiatives. So we have ones on Okeechobee Boulevard, which is a resurfacing job, and building that out with shared use pathways along the roadway. The same can be said for A1A, another project that has buffer bike lanes and paths on a state roadway. County Road 880 is also that way. And then also the final one on the list is an A1A product in Manalapan, which is more of a resiliency product with raising the roadway and drainage. And then outside of the state ones, we have some local projects with Palm Springs, West Palm Beach, and then we have some South Florida Rail Corridor, Tri-Rail safety projects in rolling stock. The next one on the list for this is the transportation alternatives. And so this program, again, $5.1 million. These are smaller scale products for non-motorized transportation, focused towards safety initiatives, mostly for our most vulnerable users. That can include complete streets, traffic calming, bike ped improvements, all types of things related to that, safe routes to schools. So this one is only funds construction. So our locals do the design locally. And then construction is available in year 3. So instead of being 2032, we anticipate these for 2030. Those requests for 2030 total $11 million. And there's 8 total projects throughout the county. It includes mostly shared use pathways and other types of facilities for bike lanes and traffic calming. Municipalities include West Palm Beach, Westgate, Palm Beach Gardens, Boca, Green Acres, Wellington, Royal Palm, and a pedestrian bridge in Belglade. That's our summary for you. I could take any questions or comments, and then it's an action item for you today.
Staff, are there any public comments?
No, Mr. Chair.
Do we have any any committee members have comments?
Hi, good. Thank you, Andrew. That was really good. Palmtran is working on the transit development plan. Not yet, but I know that the new FDOT requirement is that we work closely with the LRTP and I think the TIP. So all of this is really helpful. And I don't know if there was anything transit related in this specific presentation, but we'll be looking at that. And it's good to know that it's being adopted soon.
And I could provide some comment there. In the backup, I didn't provide, I don't think, any new Palmtran ones on this list that you see in this presentation. However, the backup does have also a list of any other priorities that Palmtran's doing with federal and state funds to the MPO. And then there's an active and under construction list as the final table in the backup. And so ones that are active and under construction for Palm Tran include transit center priority, and also a variety of shelter projects, and also electric bus purchases.
Ooh, thank you. And thank you for the presentation. I have a question for you. Part of the presentation, you said our priorities are leading to those projects that are pretty much ready to go out the door in order for it to be realistic. I have a question for, do we have opportunities for some planning projects to add on to this list? Because I saw within the 5-year window. So in my brain, I'm going, can I add something within that 5-year window, even if it's just a planning project? And I ask this because so within the month of February and April, we had 432 accidents on in our city. We have a small city. And on Blue Heron, most of those accidents happen on that road. And my question is, I haven't seen a lot about Blue Heron. I spoke to FDOT about a year or two ago, and they said, oh yeah, we have some stuff we're going to work on, but I haven't seen anything about it. So I'd like to see how to get projects that are addressing Blue Heron to the table for this. So that's one question. And then for the transportation alternate projects, I'm wondering, are we able to still add to that list, or how do we put ourselves in position for the next time? And hopefully the next time is not in 5 years, within the next year or two. How do we do that?
Good questions. And so that relates way back to probably one of the beginning slides is how we got to this point. And I'll just go back real quick on this one. So we typically do a call for products every year. That kicks off around
February?
October.
Okay.
And then when we get those applications in, that's where we do a lot of that feasibility review. And then basically to get ready for the transportation improvement program, to get work program ready, so you can get implemented to move forward, what's being reviewed in that is a detailed scope. We do those site visits, a constructing entity. So for example, if it's Blue Heron Boulevard, which maybe in that case might be county or state, ensuring that they will administer the project, and then having local support, detailed cost estimates, and then ongoing operations and maintenance commitments. So once those are all figured out, we can then move it to the list of priority products to move forward. And then specifically, if it's just a planning study, you can work with our staff to do planning studies if you need assistance with those. And we've done planning studies both at the jurisdiction level, and we've also done them at the corridor level. So if there's specific feasibility studies we need to do for Blue Heron or whatever it is, you can always partner with the MPO to get those done. They don't always show up in the list of priority products because it's just a planning study, but we do those.
Chair? I have another question. So with that in mind, if we did a planning study, would that put us in a better position in order to do construction or something later on? I'm just trying to get us in a place where we're in a good position to become on the priority list at some point.
Yep, exactly. Yes. So those planning studies, like a feasibility study, will get you some more detailed scope, detailed cost estimate for engineering, and you'll be ready to go, right? As long as the jurisdiction, the biggest part sometimes for these projects for local jurisdictions can be the administering a federal grant.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of our municipalities have sometimes had some headaches with what's called the local agency program, the LAP program. But FDOT has resources out there to assist jurisdictions through that process. But that's usually the biggest part, is getting people to construct it. But yes, feasibility study will get you ready for that.
Thank you.
And you can always work with our staff, and Brian Rusha and Margie on the multimodal team would be happy to assist you with those.
Okay, David?
I had a meeting out in Belglade for the CTMP on Tuesday night, and we had a lot of questions about the state roads in that area. And I looked at the backup material. I didn't see County Road 880, soon to be State Road 880, included in there, but I saw the slide up there. So you're saying it's going to be included in the outer year, And I mean, is it, yeah, that's, I think, was it that slide? Yeah, County Road 80.
Yep.
So they were asking about it, but I didn't see it in the backup material, so I didn't really
For the
want to
CTMP?
chime in. Yeah, the CTM, well, I mean, it was a CTMP meeting, but they were asking about the state roads.
Sure.
And you know, that area, and 880 is definitely one of them. And I wanted to speak up about it, but I didn't really know. So you're saying it's going to be included in the outer year in the LOP that's sent up to the state?
And that's a very good question. What you see on the notes for this one, there's no formal request right now for the outer year for this one. We've already amended the Transportation Improvement Program. There's been movement quickly on this project. County Road 880, if it hasn't already, is being very soon changing ownership to the state. So I don't know if it's going to be called State Road 880 or what they're going to call it. And then they're going to be doing the reconstruction of that roadway. The county's going to continue to do, they had 2 bridge projects out there that the county's going to do, but AFDOT's going to do the roadway. The funding is, they're already under design. The funding for construction for one phase of it, which I think is the western portion of it, which is in the worst shape, is going to be next year in fiscal year 28.
Okay, great. It's, yeah. See, I was kind of worried because I didn't see it in the, you know, in the backup, but once I saw it up there, I realized that it was being included in the priority. So
Correct. It's in the list here because it may tap into a few funding sources that would take from the priority list, state funding sources. You see the note here, it says use federal non-urban funds and CIS funds. What that means is we have urban area formula funds that are really based on the urban area. So we try to use those in the urban area. But there's plenty of other sources out there. There's federal funds to use on those. And then this may very well be a larger CIS reliever for State Road 80. And so hopefully you can use CIS funds as well.
okay, great.
Among other funding sources.
All right.
Body?
My question is, if the increase in homestead exemption is approved, it's going to affect, county and local, I mean, city, municipality, available fund in the next few years. I don't think that's going to affect in any way DOT or federal grant. Is there some kind of program, for example, for DOT to increase its safety funding and stuff, so other sources will be available for, local projects?
Very good question. We had a similar broader question yesterday that we answered related to property taxes and potential impacts. And I'll answer both of them there. This brings up a good point. From a general MPO administrative perspective about how we operate, from a planning side, most of our budget is federal funds reimbursements, right? So there's really no impact to us from a local funding perspective. We do have annual dues, which is 10 cents per person for our board members. So there's a little bit of our budget that is local funds, but overwhelmingly it is federal funds that get reimbursed. When it comes specifically to transportation products, what you're asking about is we provide a certain amount up to for projects for eligible expenses that are federally reimbursable. And then the locals cover the remainder of that. If there is an impact to property taxes, and I don't know how they balance their budgets locally, it might vary by municipality or jurisdiction, and they have a shortfall there, we'd have to figure out ways to work with AFDOT on that. That would be a pretty large, I'd say, impact to make up that difference. Again, we can only pay for what's federally reimbursable with AFDOT. So, but if the time came in the future where we had to sort of balance the budget with our local municipalities, we would have to figure that out. But there's no additional funding sources out there to allow additional.
Yeah, especially for safety fund. I know DOT, they have a lot of, safety money available. So at least if that part is increased, then we could use it to make improvement.
Typically, they're balancing their budget. AFDOT's not maintaining a large contingency for the most part in their work program. So there's not huge contingency lines to start allocating towards additional projects. It's very similar, I'd say, to what we experienced a little while back with large cost estimate increases, right? Where it's like, sure, we can have the money available can probably help a little bit, but if every product is coming over budget, and in this case, if every product locals don't have enough money to pay for it, we wouldn't be able to do all of them because the contingency lines are just not that large.
Bruce?
Yeah, hi. I'm just a little confused on the last item on this list, A1A from Ocean Avenue to South Ocean Boulevard. According to my map, South Ocean Boulevard is A1A. So where would this be going from? From South Ocean to where? I mean, from Ocean Avenue to where?
I'd have to look it up. I don't know if the short segment, it's Brian's gonna come up and confirm limits.
Thank you for that question, Bruce. I do believe that's a typo. So the project will be from Ocean Avenue at Manalapan to south of Ocean Boulevard. It's approximately 500 to 1,000 feet of A1A. And the reason for that project is because of the persistent flooding, sunny day flooding that happened. So this was a resiliency project that FDOT identified. So the plan there is to raise the road essentially for the benefit of everybody there, traveler public, and it includes a bike lane too.
Just 1,000 feet though.
Yeah, that's where the most persistent flooding is. It's where the public's location is, and then the Ude Palm Beach. The flooding that occurs there is rainy day. It's because of the drainage system that's set up. Short of essentially installing new seawalls, which cost $100 million, I believe is like a higher end range of the estimate that they came up with. The next best thing is to raise the roadway. So that will address the most persistent flooding areas that is immediately around that area. So that's the plan for there.
Anybody else? Any? Hearing no.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, is your microphone working? Is it on?
Thought I turned it on.
There we go. Thank you.
Do I have a motion to recommend adoption of the fiscal year 2028 to 2032 list of priority projects?
I'll make motion.
Okay, David, do I have a second?
Second. The second motion.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Had a nay? Oh, okay. All right. Motion passes. One second. Is. All right, on to action item B, a motion to recommend adoption of the 2027 strategic plan. I invite Brian, Deputy Director of Multimodal, to provide an update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Brian, your Deputy Director of Multimodal, here to present item 2B, the draft fiscal year 2027 strategic plan. Thank you all for your time. Happy 250th to America. You'll have a great weekend celebrating. This item is a overview and a request for the motion to recommend adoption of our fiscal year 2027 strategic plan. Our strategic plan is on an annual basis. It is not a federal requirement or a state requirement or any other required body to produce this document. We do this out of the need to continue looking at best practices and establishing the framework for what MPO staff are going to really focus on as a priority throughout the year. It provides a framework and goals for us to accomplish key initiatives. So we're going to dive into those momentarily. Before we do, I just wanted to say that it also aligns and supports the Unified Planning Work Program. So if you're not aware, the MPO works on a 2-year grant with respect to an agreement with FHWA and FDOT. This strategic plan aligns very closely with that grant, but it basically dives into and gives more detail to what deliverables we are going to expect from our work. So you'll see that in detail momentarily. Before we get to fiscal year 27, though, I mean, we're already 2 days in, but we're going to look back at fiscal year 26 and provide just a quick recap. For those of you who are not aware with some of the work of the MPO, we do a lot of public outreach, we do a lot of planning, and we try as hard as we can to collaborate across agencies and partners on all of these things. So we're going to start just at the top and engage the public, goal 1. I think the one thing that is most relevant to this committee is our 5E toolkit. So this was a compilation of resources from all over the state and national areas. And then it was produced in-house by our own public involvement officer, Carly Diglio. So she put a lot of effort into making this document compelling and something that you can give to a city manager or an executive at your city and basically say, hey, here's all the stuff that we need to start doing. And it's laid out through the 5 E's. So education, encouragement, evaluation, engineering, and all the E's. So I would just say, please, you take a look at that 5E toolkit. I think it's incredibly relevant for this body. We also have completed a pedestrian and bicycle safety, micromobility safety study for goal number 2. In terms of relevance to this body, it's really hard to get into the whole crash understanding. We still don't quite have the full picture from all of the crash reporting with respect to micromobility, but we do have some trends that we're kind of tracking through this document, and we're trying to highlight and recognize areas that are the worst of the worst through this document to improve so that we can make sure that we have a safe system throughout Palm Beach County. With respect to prioritizing funding, we supported 11 discretionary grant applications from local municipalities. So what we typically do is we say, hey, city, this might be applicable for you to apply to for this program, for this specific project. So we'll work directly with our municipalities and our county to identify projects and to move them forward. We've also helped to identify upcoming projects for complete streets improvements. We identified 5 of them. So if you go look at roads and you see them being resurfaced, and if maybe they're just a tinge different with a bike lane or a shoulder or added crosswalks or other things, that's frequently we will work with our partners to make sure that those things are included in minor work as they get done. We also helped with additional project identification and grant submittal. So that's where we actually go out and identify the project with communities instead of just writing a letter of support or tracking applications for discretionary grants. We're very busy with respect to events throughout the year, assisting 4 local governments with transportation studies, completing numerous walk audits for schools. We hosted a Think Bike workshop, where we brought Dutch designers over to America to have a 3-day detailed downtown West Palm Beach look at how we can create kind of the most bikeable downtown West Palm Beach, looking at some of the pinch points like Okeechobee Boulevard, a connection to the Tamarind, and then other areas in the downtown. And then, of course, some administrative things as well. Oh, excuse me. So looking forward to fiscal year 27 and what we are hoping to accomplish this year. With respect to how these goals are laid out, I'm going to go through them one by one, not try to read off everything, but I did want to make note that the goals have been condensed. So as I said before, it aligns with the Unified Planning Work Program. Previously, we had 6 goals. We're down to 4 now. So it's going to be a little bit easier to get through these as we move forward. The first goal is engage and collaborate, so that we are working to increase the number of outreach events that we've had. We're already starting and working on one, that helmet fitting that we're going to be hosting with Palm Beach Gardens and Safe Kids and I believe other partners in the room. Will be one of our first, as well as hosting mobile tours and site visits for our governing board and our staff and our partners, and getting out into the community and making presentations as well. With respect to planning the system, We have a large emphasis on our major multimodal corridor studies. So this year we're hoping to accomplish 2 that will build off of the previous work that we've done on both US 1 and Okeechobee Boulevard, as well as kind of a county-wide scan and mobility vision that helps us set the framework for how we can continue moving those forward. With respect to land use and economic development, this is a big topic locally. We completed 17 station area studies for the Okeechobee Boulevard Multimodal Corridor Study. We completed a handful of others approximately 2 fiscal years ago. This year, we want to bring that back to the forefront because based off discussions that we've had and others with the state and the ongoing ballot, land use and economic development is going to be critical. It's always been critical, but even now, so the conversation around it will be even more so as we continue to move forward and how we can use our space more effectively and how we drive the economics of the county forward and making sure that we are in a sustainable fiscal picture. We're also going to conduct 4 safe routes to school walk audits. We identified 20 schools last year. We completed 5. We are going to continue that work as well as working with the school district and our local partners on identifying additional locations, as well as completing additional planning studies with local partners. For the long-range transportation plan, project integration item action 3A, this is longer-term planning the system type effort. We want to bring all of the previous concept that we have worked on to community partners. So the MPO has obviously worked very closely with Palm Tran, with the county, with other municipalities. We want to bring those projects back up to the forefront, make sure that they're in local CIP plans, local pedestrian bicycle plans, and get those integrated, as well as integrating projects that were identified as part of the county transportation master plan process into the LRTP. So there's lots of big collation of projects that needs to happen and continuing to hone in on what that transportation system is going to look like in 2050 and getting that integrated into the LRTP. We're also going to have a transportation trends tool dashboard. So if you look at Metro Plan Orlando, our MPO to the northwest in the Orlando area, they have a dashboard which provides micromobility information, transit information, demographic and social information, all kind of in one neat place, which I think is really helpful to communicating overall needs to the public. So we'll be publishing that this year through the programs team. We're also very excited to have a digital twin pilot that will be starting here shortly with the city of Boca Raton. We're going to have a tool that will allow us to do traffic and land use modeling much faster than historically has been done. So this was part of the Dutch Cycling Embassy effort that we had back in January. It's going to build off that, and we have our first pilot initiative to look at that kicking off here this month. And lastly, for goal 3, freight and resiliency analysis. This has become an ever more pressing issue with respect to freight and movement of goods. FDOT District 4 has completed a master plan which looks at it from the statewide perspective. However, there's other local needs that also have to be addressed and how we can move that forward. So the LRTP will have an update there, as well as a resiliency effort, which will look at the federal aid eligible network and update the LRTP with new chapters as well. Then lastly, ensuring that we have as accessible a digital website as possible. Our website is accessible now, but just continuing to ensure that accessibility is strived for, as well as file management standards with respect to keeping our house in order, making sure that we have good practices for how we save documents, photos, etc., and of course, producing an annual report. So with that, I'd like to seek a motion to recommend adoption of the fiscal year 27 strategic plan.
Thank you. Staff, do we have any comments from the public
No, Mr. Chair.
on this item? Okay, do we have any do any committee members have any comments? Body?
On the slide dealing with multimodal, it's something like, I don't know, maybe vision a dream or something. When you go to cities like Venice Beach or Seattle or others, they usually have a multi-use pathway on the beach, separate from the roadway system, for bikers, for, now you can go scooters, jogging, walking. And it's kind of sad for Palm Beach County with all the beaches that we have. We don't have something similar. Just a place outside the road system, very close to the beach, multi-use pathway. Maybe you can have a place where you can lock in your bike or your scooter or whatever. It'd be nice to have it. Again, just kind of.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Yeah, we've looked at a few different related type items. So the way I see Palm Beach County, especially with accessing recreational areas like at the beach, usually you have the Tri-Rail corridor, the FEC corridor, Brightline runs, the intercoastal, and then 95 is in there as well. All of those kind of serve as major bottlenecks in places where we really need to improve multimodal capacity. First, get people over to A1A and or the intercoastal. I do think we have a great example of, you know, our waterfront pathway in West Palm Beach. For what it's worth, I think Flagler Drive does a really good job of that. But I tend to agree, A1A probably could use something similar. Wish that we had a beachfront path. Don't know if it would play well with the environmental side, but I do think that A1A is a ripe opportunity for something like that. And the East Coast Greenway is part of that overall effort. We've studied that before. It's a hard sell to compete with places like Miami that have like the Underline and others to get that funding from SunTrail, which I know that, and we're hoping that more funding cycles come up for soon. But you know, agreed, it is an aspiration for us to hit that as well, Fadi.
Sonny?
This sounds exciting and you guys do amazing work. So kudos to the team. You guys are doing great work. I have a question about, if you could tell me a little bit more about the freight analysis and how are you envisioning working with the different cities to do this?
So more than likely, we are going to first scan kind of what's been done up to this point. We do
Mhm.
have good information on freight movements with respect to the airport, the port, and FDOT has also performed like a kind of like a parking analysis because their look and their study largely focused on how do we provide layover places for truckers, so the long haul truckers, to make sure that they are accommodated. I think that we're probably going to take it to the next level with respect to looking at some local jurisdictions. This also came up for West Palm Beach with respect to especially the downtown and how freight's moved around kind of more urbanized areas. Because if you plan for a large WB-40 truck to go everywhere and to make those movements and those turns, you're probably going to start hurting, you know, other, you know, movements, especially if you're in a downtown. And there's opportunities and other ways of, you know, addressing that. So it's probably going to have a lot more involvement from our local communities and seeing if there's anywhere to build off of what FDOT has done with respect to parking and how we can accommodate freight and where that industrial can support, you know, more freight movement. And then also looking at kind of the new technologies that are out and about that can facilitate movement. So as a plug, we are also at the agency sitting on the light utility vehicle working group, which is kind of the like think of like a low speed vehicle or golf cart plus size down to about a bicycle that is capable of moving, you know, goods and packages and whatnot in a more urbanized area. That we see more common in places like Pittsburgh, Portland, you know, New York City, Austin, where, you know, there's a little bit more density. But, you know, it is something where once we start seeing those vehicles being deployed, we're going to have to find a regulatory way to respond to them, like we have with e-bikes and golf carts and otherwise. So we are just trying to think about that as well and trying to stay on the bleeding edge of it. We also have, I mean, eVTOLs are also there in the freight space too, like electric vertical takeoff and landing. So aerial drone delivery is something that could also be expanded upon in freight, but it's still pretty far off.
Okay, and I asked this just for, and I heard parts of the response, but I know within our city and I think our neighboring cities, we have such an issue with the freights stopping in the middle of life and then being there for a long time. And the conversation with those agencies are always tough. And so I just love more assistance with that and having
Yeah,
those.
certainly. I would also look at some of your municipal partners who have dealt with this aggressively. For example, when I worked in Delray Beach as their transportation planner, they have a very explicit no trucks on the Atlantic Avenue policy because there's so much, competing space for
Right.
people walking, the few who are trying to bravely drive down Atlantic Avenue on a Friday or Saturday or what have you. They very aggressively cite vehicles that either park in the right of way or discharge goods from the right of way. And I do believe that that is also an issue on other major roads where you see trucks parked in turn lanes or otherwise. You can enforce local rules on those systems as well. So I would start with that education first. Reach out to your larger employers, your larger distributors in the area, making sure that they are aware that,
Mhm.
hey, if you are getting and receiving goods, we might cite your driver, we might cite your business for violating something about the right of way, unloading and discharging with white MUTCD regulatory signs, and then also citing the business for accepting goods from the parked truck in the right of way. There's lots of regulatory mechanisms that you can do. Enforcement should come after education, but they are there.
Thank you.
Fadi?
Yeah, for related to the truck parking, I think the county ordinance, if they park for more than an hour, they can be cited. And if trucks or cars park in a way where they're blocking the view, impacting safety, they can also be ticketed.
Is that all? Okay. Thank you. Hearing no further discussion, can I have a motion to recommend adoption of the fiscal year 2027 strategic plan?
I'll move.
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Thank you very much.
Opposed, say no, nay. Okay. Great. Thank you, Brian. That's it for the action items. We'll move on to the information items now. And I'd like to invite Andrew back up to discuss, to give us an update on the congestion management process.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So congestion management process for an informational item. Brian just talked about the strategic plan for this year. This past year, one of those items was the CMP process update. And so I wanted to give you an update on this. And really what was provided in your backup is an overall summary document. It's meant to be a little more palatable to the public, to sort of describe what the congestion management process can be. It typically involves a lot of data and ways of measuring things that are not really that relatable to the general public. So trying to get more in that direction to make it understandable by everyone. And so that's really what the intent is here, and then bring in any other new data that we might have available to us. So I'm just going to provide a few slides overview. It doesn't get too in the weeds, but really what the CMP is, we're required by federal law for metropolitan planning organizations that are larger scale. So ours, if you're over 200,000 residents or above, you're required to have one of these in place. Ours has been really included in our performance measures process through the years. And really what the CMP is routinely monitoring travel and activity on the transportation network and trying to get at the congestion. It's really multimodal in nature. And with that, once you are analyzing the network, you try to identify and advance effective solutions to mitigate congestion impacts. So the whole point of this and the purpose from a federal highway perspective is to figure out ways to manage congestion and alleviate congestion in non-capacity ways before you widen the roadway. If in the end, you do potentially widen the way you're supposed to really get after some of these measures before you have to do any additional taking of land or larger scale construction projects. Also to note that these are aligned with our long-range transportation plan Vision 2050 goals and objectives. And so what you see in the backup is alignment about how our LHP goals really can be compared to some of these congestion mitigation processes. And so just to put in perspective, for nationwide and the average commuter, typical US driver loses 49 hours in congestion annually, which equates to around $900 per driver. That's from an INRIX scorecard. And then to sort of compare that to some of the sources we have locally, we do have data on our network when it comes to hours of delay. Here's an example from 2024 data for vehicle hours per delay on our roadway network, and where this specific measure about how you measure congestion, there's many others, but some of the segments that are being highlighted there. The guiding documents from Federal Highway Administration about how this process works out, it's an 8-step process. You really start that long-range plan and you're developing your goals and objectives. You're creating your network, and then you're have your measures and you're analyzing the results. And then you come up with effective strategies to mitigate congestion. And then you evaluate how effective that strategy was, and the cycle really starts over. So it's really a continuous process. We have both what we call measures and indicators. The federal performance measures are the first ones, and those have been what we've been doing for probably about half a decade now. And those relate to safety, infrastructure condition, system performance, which is directly related to congestion with travel time reliability, and then transit asset management. All those are really either directly or indirectly related to congestion. So they are integrated into this process. And then outside of federal performance measures, which are required to track, we have additional ones for measuring congestion, which include mobility, freight, multimodal, and safety. So within those, you'll see in the backup additional details about what we're measuring. So if any other recommendations for measures or how to tweak them, let us know. You can reach out to us and we can see how we can incorporate it. And then once we've established our measures and we're analyzing the roadways and the transit system and other modes, we then have a toolbox to figure out how to implement some of these congestion reliefs. And it is multimodal in nature. And it's not, in the backup, it's not an all-encompassing list. There's plenty of other ones. We actually have a more detailed Excel for our toolbox, but this is a high level. This is what we're putting in our overview document, and it's based on various categories, and it applies to various networks. And our approach to it is really trying to focus on how there are sort of particular network applications for it. So, for example, you might have various modes, heavy truck, multimodal, and we have commuter networks. And so what it's meant to do is, first, you can use these networks that we've identified, understand how congestion is occurring, and then try to come up with specific strategies to implement along those corridors or area-wide. And what it's also meant to do, not just from a mode-specific one, but is to understand the conflicts between certain types of modes. I'll use a larger example. You may have a high traffic roadway that carries a lot of freight movement, right? Those specific types of strategies to improve the mobility of freight and high traffic volumes through an intersection might conflict with pedestrian or bicycle safety. And so what we're trying to do is, when you do identify specific strategies to alleviate congestion by a mode, ensuring that we're considering the other modes within that framework and what the appropriate trade-offs or ways to alleviate and manage those conflicts would be. So that's really the intent of how we are moving forward with this. So this is really a toolbox that you have a high-level screening, then you start considering these ones in the toolbox, and then you move forward into a more detailed analysis like that. This is going to provide two examples of measures in the backup. This is all information that we're going to have in our next step, more visually shown. Our staff is working on our dashboard for that. An example of one we've done for a few years now is level of travel time reliability. This is a federally required measure, which is basically for different time periods throughout the day. It is figuring out whether your travel during that time period is considered reliable or not. So if you're traveling and it takes you on average, would be the 50th percentile. If on average it's taking you greater than 50% of your average daily commute to get somewhere from for your daily commute is considered unreliable. So anything above 1.5 basically. And so on the screen, you can see AM peak and PM peak, and anything really over 1.6 is getting into unreliable. And so you would use a toolbox to assess some of these corridors and figure out strategies to improve travel time reliability. This is one of many other vehicle congestion measures we have in the backup in this process. Another example, similar for travel time reliability of the vehicles, this is on-time performance for PalmTran. So this is transit. So we've been working with PalmTran to get some of this data. This snapshot is from their performance report for March 2026. So this is their fixed route system county-wide. And you can see 2020 all the way to 2026 about on-time performance. We do get this now from PalmTran at the corridor level. So we're going to be diving deeper into the corridor-specific travel time reliability of PalmTran and figuring out if there's any specific segments that are really causing these delays and how to alleviate those issues to try to get better on-time performance for PalmTran. This is one of the ones I'm most excited about. Some of the things that that are in the toolbox that will be moving forward either are already implemented or they're being rolled out. Transit Center Priority is a good one. That's one that is being implemented on US 1, Okeechobee, and Lake Worth Road first. And so that's moving forward. Level boarding where appropriate is another one to improve the stops, along with bus stop consolidation, off-board fare payments, etc. So using the toolbox, trying to figure out how to improve travel time reliability, and also just travel time overall. Our next step here is to finish up this overview document, make it palatable for the public, publish on our website. We also have other deliverables with this work. So we have our toolbox, which is a more detailed toolbox that is going to be in Excel and probably going to be visualized online as well as a dashboard. And then we have the methodology report that's going to go along with this that shows how to measure all these. And then on top of that, there's additional resources we're tapping into, a few great ones. FDOT Sourcebook has plenty of congestion measures already on there. That's by county, by roadway segments for the larger roadways that we tap into. Palm Beach County has their actively managed arterial system, which provides measures. PalmTran has a monthly report. And then there's a recently adopted TSNO master plan from District 4, which has a lot of operational measures related to congestion relief. So that's all to come. This is our first draft of it. Wanted to get your feedback on it, any ways to improve it or other measures. And then our next steps is really going to be the more visual tool for the public and our stakeholders.
Thank you, Andrew. Staff, do we have any public comments?
No, Mr. Chair.
All right, move on. Do we have any, do any committee members have any comments for Andrew? Body? Nope.
Just wondering, what software or database do you use to generate, reliability and other stuff? And is it something that you have permanent access to it or just?
We use probe data. The federal performance measure has it for the national highway system. So US DOT purchases HERE data, probe data, nationwide on the national highway system. So we've always had access to that part. To get the more granular network for our network is a next tier. And so we do have it for most of the larger roadways. And that's what we use for the, at least for the travel time reliability. And then the other ones are mostly for traffic counters and all that for traffic count data volumes.
Great work. I mean, we can maybe coordinate and cooperate on that too.
Great. Yep.
I have a question on the PalmTran on-time performance chart. They were very consistent. Everything was up in the upper 70s, but you had the 1 year 2022 when it went down. Was there a reason why?
I do not.
I mean, it only went
specifically-
down a couple percentage, but it was all consistent. Then they had that 2022, but it went down like 74, 75, was it? Just thought, yeah, was there a reason?
I don't know, but I do know that I know it was an annual chart, but seasonally it goes down, obviously, like when school's out. Our on-time performance is really great.
Yeah, it
And
is.
then when it's seasonal, it's also good. But our threshold is usually 75% and above is good.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you. All right, thank you, Andrew. That concludes our informational items section. We move on to administrative items. Items 4A through 4C are information only. There are no staff presentations unless requested by a committee member. Staff, are there any public comments on any of these items?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Before you close, we have a new alternate that's in the back of the room. We have Keith Sago. I hope that's your the right way to present or pronounce your name.
Okay.
And he's a new alternate for Boca Raton Bicycle Club. Sorry, I missed that earlier, but we want to welcome him to the committee.
Great. Okay, my whoop says this is was a very low stress meeting, so that's great. That's the kind of meetings we like around the day before a holiday weekend. There's no nice low stress meetings, or at least I was low stress. I don't know about everybody else, but appreciate that since I haven't done this in about a year or so. Made it through. Everybody enjoy the holiday. Be safe. Or hydrate yourself. Stay out of the sun as much if you can, as much as you can, and all us old folks find shade. The younger folks, yeah, you can go running around jogging in the 90-degree heat like it's nothing. So, but so definitely stay safe, hydrate, ride a bike, or walk to the fireworks. So us dumb people like me who's probably drive, makes it easier for us to get out of there. Delray, talking to you. And that is it for our meeting. Our next VZAC meeting will be scheduled on October 8th. At this time, if there is nothing anybody else wants to say, this meeting is